When it comes to selling online, your product imagery and your product videos are the most important part because realistically, it's the only thing that customers can see to make a decision about whether or not they're going to buy from you. Now, is there a magic number that works for everyone? No, of course not. There's so many different types of products, but there's one number that works for everyone, and that is more than one. Now, I'm Lena and I'm the very proud owner of Made It, and we're the leading handmade marketplace in Australia. And it's so interesting because we've got over 800 artisans on the platform, like 15,000 products, and it still amazes me how many products are added to the platform with one image only. Now, I ask you, if you went online and you were buying a product from someone that you didn't know and that you didn't know about the actual product that they've made, or you'd never seen it in person, would you buy it from one image only? Now, I'm going to say this even with books. Often when we're looking at books, we're going, oh, but I want to read the back of the book. Oh, I want to see what's inside the book. So even with something like that, there's still multiple pictures that as a customer we want to see. So today I'm going to take you through some of the key imagery that you really need to consider when you're selling your creations online. And again, it's going to change and be a little bit different for everyone, but at least this is going to give you that starting point for you to keep as a guide for when you're creating your products to be sold online. I was doing a bit of research in the prep for this video to find out what is that sweet spot number that you should have as far as product images. And I came up with so much research that just said, get in there as many images that you're allowed to have on each product. Now, I kind of do and don't agree with this. I think that if you've got, say, the opportunity to have 10 images when you're selling online, absolutely, I think that you should use up every single one of those spots. But on the flip side, there's also, you want to keep in mind which are the ones that you're going to show first. So I want to take you through sort of online to kind of show you how you can start to think about this, because the reality is that the first two images are the most important images. Now, the reason for this is that on most of the platforms, most of the websites that are out there, you've got that option that when you're hovering over the top of an image, that it showcases you another image. Now, that may not be exactly the case when you're on mobile, but interestingly enough, when it comes to handmade, when it comes to Made It, we've still got about 60% of customers using desktop to actually make their purchase. So it's good to keep that in mind, that when they're actually scrolling or they're going to sort of hover over the top, they're going to see that second image. So the first image, you always want to make sure that you show the product in its entirety, right? That you've got that beautiful picture where it shows it completely. And then you want to make sure that the one that you're hovering over is the next one that's the most important. Now, depending on what your product is, that might be a different angle or a different side, or perhaps it's a detail up close. Or if it's more of a lifestyle product, you might like to show that actually with that lifestyle image as the hover picture. There's a trend that came out quite a few years ago, and it was that clipped imagery, and it's where the product essentially looks like it's on that white background. There's almost nothing there. Now, I can understand that when you're on a big platform, let's say like Iconic or ASOS or one of those big players, that it would make sense. But if you're a handmade artisan or an artisan, that is not what's right for you. And I really believe this wholeheartedly, that you want to make sure that your product has depth, because if it looks flat and it doesn't have that natural shadow, it doesn't have that natural background, I feel like it loses some of its authenticity in the handmade space. Now, from my fashion days, the kind of basic, rule of thumb that you would have is front, side, back, detail up close, and inside. Now, you can take that same formula when it comes to your creations as well. So I've got this hand woven basket from Beck Creates, and this is just a really simple example where you could show basically the product as a whole, and I'll show you on her product listing as well, product as a whole, the product underneath, the product from the side, the product to show the detail, product to show the detail of the label. And then all of a sudden you've already got great images in which customers can make that decision whether or not they're going to buy from you. Now, when it comes to handmade artisan products, I think the next thing that needs to be included in there is scale, because when we're talking about clothing, you can straight away see the length of something. But if you're looking at a basket like this, now if I'm holding this basket, straight away you can get an idea of the scale and size. But if the basket is placed down somewhere, depending on what's in the background, it's going to be much more tricky for you to be able to tell what the scale is as a customer. So again, remember, we always want to be in the shoes of the customer. What is the customer saying? Because we're so close to the product, right? We want to make it super easy for our customer to go, yes, I love it, and I'm going to buy it. The reason why I love video so much is because products are not static, especially when it comes to items like this, where they've actually got movable pieces. Now, if I had that just sitting still in a photo, of course it's going to look beautiful. It is beautiful from the Fuzzy Wonders, but it doesn't show me all of the moving parts. So my hit tip here would be to add on that image, that video that has got no sound, so it's a pretty small size video, and you literally showcase the product moving so that the customer can straight away get an idea of what it feels like for them to have that item in their hands. This can be one of the trickier shots to get, but it's one that I really encourage you to persist with and to find the right angles, or maybe the right hand or the right lighting, whatever that might be. And that's to have an image where you're actually holding the product. Now, again, that works really well from showing that scale. So again, if you want to have that as one of your scale shots, straight away when someone sees it in the hand, they can get an idea of the size of it. But also as well, it works from kind of, I guess, that neuro-linguistic programming, the NLP approach of when you have a hand in there, the customer can then associate it with by hand. So it's a really subtle way that you can show that your product is handmade. The lifestyle shot will of course depend on what the product is that you're making, but as a general, what it can be renamed as your product in use. So let's say, for an example, if you're doing earrings, you'd want to actually show them being used, like someone actually wearing them, because I think, again, it's going to work from that scale aspect, but also it shows your product in real life. Now, when we show your product in real life, maybe it's a wall art that's hanging on the wall, but it brings it to life, if that makes sense. So let's say if it's a cushion, or a cushion cover, you'd want to show what it looks like when it's styled in the right environment. Let's say, it's taking that basket that we've got and adding some products in and popping it in a bathroom so that you can see what it actually looks like. These subtle images of the products in use means that the customer can start to imagine what that item might look like in their world. Or if you've got something that's a little bit unusual and they are perhaps not sure where they would use it, this is a great way to give them examples and ideas for how they can utilize it in their life, in their home, or as a gift. This image here is really good for if you've seen your product gift wrapped. So as you can see, it would be a gift wrap product, perhaps with better wrapping than that particular one. But that's a way that you can show the customer exactly what it might look like when it arrives to you. So if you had a gift wrapping option as an add-on, it would be great to show what that gift wrapping actually looked like. Or if you have an item that's a little bit more delicate and the customer might be worried about how it's going to get to them, you could show them actually the packaging that you put around the product and how it's actually sent on the day, so that it can remove any of the fear about whether or not that product's going to arrive to them in one piece. It wouldn't be fair if I didn't at least give you a guidance number for you to start with as far as how many images are actually going to need to be able to sell your products online. I want to say the absolute minimum is 3 images. And I want to say that for the majority of you, you would be wanting to focus on around 5 to 7 images of that product that you're selling online. Now, if you do one of a kind and you're worried that it's going to sell through really quickly and the time that it's going to take to get those photos, I hear you. But remember, we're in the space of online, and when it comes to selling online, it's really important that you're able to remove any of the fears, that you're able to show all aspects of the product in order for it to have its best chance online. Now, if you're one of a kind means that there's only slight print variations, that's something that you could literally put in the description, or you can have one image where it says, please note, image placement may vary slightly. Now, make sure that that's not your number 1 or your number 2 image. Really important that that's one of the further ones along. We want to make that first image and that second image the absolute showstoppers. Now, for those of you that are super keen to really ramp up what you're doing, I highly recommend having that video. You don't have to have any sound in it at all, just so that it can go in your product carousel. And that's one of the beauty of selling on Made It as well, that happens automatically when you put that video in. But that you've got it there so that when a customer is on their mobile, on their desktop, and they're literally swiping through those images, that they'll be able to get to that autoplay video as well and see the product come to life. If you're an artisan selling online, I would love to see what you're creating. Please pop a link down below so that I can go and check out your creations. And I hope that you found this video helpful. And if you did, please engage with the video, either a like or a comment. And of course, subscribe to the channel, as I'll be bringing out videos every week that are really designed and built to help simplify and amplify your journey selling online as an artisan.